When we talked about doing a live show twice a week during the season, I thought we would only talk about games. I mean, unless something major happened, like a major injury happens or just whatever. Like I didn't think we'd talk about some of the ancillary things that have to do with college football, but we are today. And so let's get started off with the AP poll drama, which, listen, there's a lot of takes on this. There were a lot of takes on this before some different folks went viral for things that they said on interviews, which we'll play for you in a minute. It's about a 45-second clip that we'll bring up. I do think there has been a problem with the AP poll. I think there's been a problem with the coaches poll for quite some time. I don't think this is the 1990s where I think those things were important. I'm in no way or shape or form do I think we need to go to, the analytics based model where everything is just solely based on that, because I think there are flaws with that too. But I do think the way that we have the AP model set up is pretty dumb. And I do agree with the folks that say, like, yeah, this does matter because it does shape public perception and it does shape where game day goes. And I know ultimately for the playoff, what really matters is the playoff committee. The playoff committee's opinions and biases are formed based on what they saw the first 8-10 weeks from the AP poll, right? Like if you'd have put, if Bama didn't have a big number next to their logo, it'd just be different, right? Like, so I don't agree that it doesn't mean anything. I do think this is very important. And I don't know, how do you guys want to start? You want to go on a rant first? Do you want to show the clip first, or what do you want to do here?
Show the clip.
Okay, go for the clip.
Show the clip.
All right, so here we go.
But as far as what my votes are and what my process is, I wake up early in the morning after covering a game late in the night before. Don't want to go too much into my progress or process or logic, but I will say I appreciate everybody's interaction on social media and all of your feedback. There's tons of people that vote on the AP poll, and it's not a perfect system, but at the end of the day, no matter who you pick, it does even out because there's so many people who vote. And like I said, it's really fun for discussion. It doesn't, probably matter in the end, but I'm glad that people are having a really good time with it.
It keeps getting worse and worse as you listen to it back and as she goes on. Now, Tom and I were talking about this off air. There's a lot of things you could say, like this, I'm not blaming. I'm not there. Anyway, no, I'm just going on.
Well,
Tom,
let me. So
you go ahead here.
Haley Sawyer starts off low key saying, "I work really hard and I work late into the night. I don't have to explain my process and my logic to all of you, and a subtle fu to people that do give feedback on that." That's basically what she said up front with a big smile on her face, and then going on into saying literally that this doesn't matter. That's what bothers college football fans the most, because whether you're a fan of Idaho or you're a fan of Alabama, this all matters to college football fans. It matters to college football teams. It matters to viewers. It matters to networks, because the points that we were just saying before, you tune in for a game because it's 5 versus 8 and it has bigger implications for that. But there's a lot of issues with this, and we were talking about before we came on, is that there are so many local beat writers that get the opportunity to vote on the AP poll. It's an impossible task for people that have that type of responsibility. When you have the jobs of 4 people rolled into one, and you're paid terribly, you work horrible hours, and you're asked to then try and watch all these games. If you're a psycho and a sicko like me, you're watching the quad box every block of every Saturday because you don't have a life. Well, those are the types of people, I'm not saying myself, but people like Bud Elliott, for instance, on Cover 3. I love the Cover 3 guys. It's the reason why they're one of the best podcasts in sports in the United States. Is they literally sit in their homes and they watch every single game as much as they possibly can in the quad box, and they try and give you an informed opinion on every single thing they're looking at. So to ask someone like Haley Sawyer, or as Danny Cannell pointed out on social media, Koki Riley, who is a beat reporter from Baton Rouge, to ask these people to watch every game that involves the 50 best teams or highest profile teams, a better way to put it, in college football, it's an impossible task. So these need to be reassigned. A lot of the people that are on these, that have the opportunity to vote on the AP poll have been grandfathered in. But Josh Pate pointed out a lot of good stuff of, I don't blame the people that are voting. I blame the system. And you're giving people power. They're holding on to that power because they want to be able to flex and say, I have influence over the sport. I thought Haley Sawyer did a terrible job of defending herself. And I am condemning people that are going at her on social media for saying this has anything to do with gender. That's a horrible thing to say in this whole circumstance. So there are a lot of things wrong with this. And for instance, like Cokie Riley had Alabama 2 spots ahead of Florida State. In what world is that the reality? Also had Florida 5 spots ahead of USF, and Arizona State was ranked while Mississippi State was not. And then Haley Sawyer had rankings that were also complete head scratchers. I don't have them right off the top of my head, but there are a lot of these things that just don't make any sense. And to say that, oh, it doesn't matter in the end, we're dealing with 2 bodies of human beings that are flawed. One body, the AP poll, determines rankings for like the first half of the year, and then we give it over to another body of human beings in the College Football Playoff Committee, and we get the College Football Playoff rankings the back half of the year, and we're calling out the playoff committee people, but we're ignoring the larger body of people for the AP poll. Both bodies, both entities need to be taken to task because we've allowed college football to become really, really subjective with people that have no idea, maybe don't care about the sport, are basing it on what happened last year or the logo that is is next to the score or whatever. Like that's all they seem to care about sometimes. So this is badly flawed. The sport's been flawed in a lot of capacities for years. I'm glad all this has been called out.
I'll get right back to the video, but first I want to tell you, I have gotten the alert from Apple on this Sleeper app, and I spent way too much time on it last week. The folks at Sleeper would probably disagree and say you didn't spend enough time, but Apple tells you how much time you spend on every app, and I might have to back it down just a little bit because I've been obsessed with consistently checking it for scores, taking the live more and less game that we play on the Power 2, which is live every Wednesday here on this channel at noon. You can do all that on the Sleeper app. You can read comments of fans that are flipping out when their team has a big play go against them or a big score or a big game result. Listen, if you're in the NFL, they've got eliminator leagues. They've got pick'em leagues. All of my friends have their fantasy football on the Sleeper app. And right now, we'll save you some money. We'll get you some extra money by using the code CFA. That's CFA, gets you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Play the more or less game, make money with us every week, and really enjoy your time. It is your one-stop shop for all things college football, not only, but pro sports, European soccer, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Sleeper app, check them out. Check their terms and conditions. Obviously, they apply. Read their terms of use. Appreciate Sleeper for their support.
Okay, I'll go. I guess I'm in the mood to maybe ruffle some feathers today. I don't really get anymore. Haley Sawyer, what she said, let's just make this abundantly clear. This is not a gender thing. This never needs to be a gender thing. This does not need to be a sexist thing. This does not need to be a thing that's brought up because of your wages that you make. I have no issue because I'll call you out for whoever you are, and I don't really care because that's the way that I was raised as a person. Here's what I will say. Your answer for what was the process behind it was dreadful, and it continued to get worse, and it sounded like 2007 Miss Teen South Carolina that could not come up with an actual combination of what was the problem with education in America today. Like, just stop talking if you don't know what you're talking about. But here is where I had the issue with it. I am a person that does not live in hot take culture. I'm not. If I say something, I mean it. I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and I truly believe that. You want to say, I don't need to go into my details. No, you do. No, you actually do. That is where you were 100% wrong. Because if you're going to stand behind your take, I have no problem with it. Justify it. Show me the numbers that back it up. Show me, is it because of the point differential? Is it because of the schedule that is at hand? Is it because of your process involves games that haven't already happened or games that you believe are going to have major implications later on? Those are things that you, if you want to say you have a process behind, need to show evidence for. And if you come up with a good game plan, and if you give me at least some factual information that proves that your model works in a way, I'll back off of you. Because if everybody is allowed to have a wrong opinion, and we're never gonna agree on everything. It's why they're called opinions, people. It's not why they're called factual statements. So if you have an opinion on something, that's totally fine. But don't double down. And the other thing is, you could have openly just said, guys, I worked late last night. I had a very long game. covering USC, finishing with another top 5 scoring offense in college football this week. I had to do a lot of other things, from the pregame ritual to the postgame press conference. I had to write 6 stories, and I just didn't have enough time to get my AP ballot in time, so I kind of messed up. It's on me. It was a mistake on my end. But instead of just admitting that you made a mistake, you decided to go on this long spiel about how you're not wrong. In today's culture, we as people refuse to ever admit when we are wrong. We would rather go die on the hill of us being right than actually admit that we are at fault. And Haley Sawyer could have easily done that. This isn't a gender thing. This isn't about where you rank or if you had a late night or how hard you work. I work 3 freaking jobs, including doing this, and you never hear me complain on this show about it. Because you want to know why? If I'm going to stand behind something, I'm going to provide it with factual evidence. And instead of you just saying I was tired and I didn't have an opportunity to go and truly break this down, you decided to double down on your take and say, my process is this, and it doesn't really matter. I'm sorry, Haley, it does matter. Because if you think that you aren't paying attention to the world of college football, how many of the actual college football playoff committee members, how many athletic directors, how many player personnel members, how many people with actual power in this sport are not paying attention? Because you want to know what they do with that first college football playoff ranking. They take that and they look at the AP poll and they look at the coaches poll and they kind of come up with a format together that say, these teams rank here, these teams rank here. This is a good baseline for us to start with. And unfortunately, that could lead to a team like USF that does have 2 significant wins, not in the college football playoff as the G5 representative because of where they started in the college football playoff rankings. So it is your job to be able to do those things. And it is a privilege to have that opportunity to work for a publication like the AP poll. Pate said it, Brandon Walker said it, and I truly agree with it. People who work on beats do not deserve to have an AP poll vote. It's not because of we think that podcasting and people who sit in armchairs and watch the game on Saturdays in front of the television screens are smarter than you or better than you. It's not that at all. They have more time than you. They have all the time in the world to be able to sit down and truly break every single piece of the game on what makes you a top 25 team or not. And I'm not saying it has to be me or Tom or TJ or that be somebody from Barstool or Tom Fornelli, or you could throw in a Chip Patterson. All those guys are great. It could be a slew of people. I could be one. Chip could be one. Tom Fornelli could be one. Tom Hannafin could be one. Because we sit at home and we're not inside of the games. So we have more evidence. You watch one game per week, full addendum, fully fixated on the matchup. And that's fine because you're an AP poll voter and you work for a major publication. I watch 11 to 14 games on the regular, and I'm up every single Sunday until 2 a.m. watching that late game out on the West Coast. That's what I do. So you know what? I trust my opinion more than you. But I heard Pate say something last night, and Josh Pate, please do not clip this up and say I'm coming for you at all, because of it's not this in the slightest. Talking about when he saw a kid that was driving the car and at 2 years old inside of a mall parking lot, and the kid gets out and the parent yells at the kid. And it's not the kid's fault. It's the parent's fault for leaving the keys in the car. You're 100% right. But AP voters are not children. AP voters, in my opinion, are more so like grocery store workers. Let me explain. You're not asking the grocery store worker to come on in and find $10,000 of finances that you can go ahead and turn into new deals or saving yourself some money, but you're asking them to do the bare minimum. Stock the things in the right places. Make sure that the store is tidy. That way people want to continue to come back to the store. Make sure that you ring up the right amount of pricing and you give the exact amount of change so you're not losing money. Bare minimum things that we ask from the AP voters to truly just look at this with an unbiased feel and go out and give a qualified opinion. That's what you are. We're not asking you to fix college football, but we are asking you to do the bare minimum by making sure that you get the right people and the right teams in the correct order to set a baseline for those who truly do not care about the sport and only care about the monies and the nickels and the pennies. For that to have a baseline. That's all we're asking for. I don't care that Haley Sawyer decided to go ahead and do her own rankings. I care that she decided to double down, instead of defending her rankings, say, I don't need to tell you guys. If you don't like my opinion, then that's okay. No, we don't like your opinion, but you need to explain why you have that opinion. Every single time I come on one of these shows and you guys come for me and say, oh, Cole has no idea what he's talking about, at least I'm going to back it up. At least I'm going to tell you, this is what I see versus what you see. I'm going to stand behind my take. If you can't have enough courage to be able to do that, you don't deserve a vote. And that's not a shot at her. That's a shot at any single person that has ever had an AP vote to begin with. If you don't know what you're talking about, that's totally fine. Ask for help. Don't go down with the ship and try to be wrong.
Yeah, I think the idea of, I mean, I will say this, there are some really good AP voters out there, right? Like, this is not a shot at everybody that's in it. And for the most part, let's be honest, they get them fairly right? Like, most of the issue comes with these anomalies, right? I think the process, the system itself is dumb, but I do think that, it's these outliers that certainly don't take the thing seriously that do have an impact for sure, because there are multiple. But I've seen AP voters own up to things. I've seen them say, like, man, I meant to write USC California and I wrote US. Like, it'll be the only vote for Carolina, and people, and they'll own up, hey, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. And you can go back in and you can resubmit, like, hey, I'll make, or I'll fix it next week, or whatever the issue is. I've heard people say, look, I didn't get a chance to watch that game, but I did look at the box score and I made an opinion on that. Box scores sometimes lie. LSU beat Florida last year in the Swamp if you only look at the box score, right? Like, and not the final score. So box scores do lie, but at least do that. I don't expect anybody to watch 40 college football games a week when they are covering a local team. That is unrealistic. There aren't enough hours to do that from the time your game ends until you have to submit your poll the next morning. So I'm not asking anybody to stay up and watch 40 games, but look at a box score. Be aware of something that happened. Be aware of the biggest upset of the season so far in USF beating Florida. That was an 18.5-point spread. This was not like, oh, Kansas, Missouri just happened to go the other way, or Notre Dame, Texas just happened to be the other way. I could live with that. But for this big one, for our two biggest upsets of the year, both happened in the last 2 weeks. A 14-point spread and an 18.5-point spread. And to have both of those teams ranked higher than the teams that beat them is wild. And it just shows an unawareness. I mean, to her credit, which is not really credit because it's still a problem, to her credit, the reason she gave such a slop BS answer was because she couldn't tell the truth of, dude, I just didn't even realize that happened. That happened while I was covering my game, and I didn't even know that happened. She couldn't say that. I mean, that'd be even worse somehow.
I'd rather you be accountable and honest than just lie and be arrogant, boastful the way that she was.
I would honestly respect you more if you did it that way.
We all would, but nobody has that. Most people don't have that humility, right? Like,
right. That's the problem. Is that, again, we live in a world where people want to rather be right with their wrong takes than admit fault, and that's not a her thing. That's just a person thing.
Yeah, that's a humanity issue. Any closing thoughts on this? And then we will actually talk about some ball today, guys. We won't just rant about Haley and the other.
Let's get to the games. I'm excited about the games.
I'll end with this, and we'll just move on with it. Until we see change, just understand why people don't respect the AP poll. And it's not a Haley Sawyer thing. I want to make this abundantly clear. This has nothing to do with Haley Sawyer. This has everything to do with the fact that people do not have enough time to watch the games, every single one, and they come up with opinions. There are great voters out there. I know several of them, and they always do a tremendous job. But also, I've talked to several AP voters. They'll ask around the country to people, hey, what'd you see in this game that makes you feel so highly about this team? And then when they do that, they're able to come up with more well-formed opinions. Just do that. Because of right now, it's very hard for me to take anybody in the AP poll seriously. And it's not because of a gender thing. It has everything to do with the fact of you standing on business